Alright. Engine, cool. Alright, so... morning, everyone. My name's Thepsychoripper, and this is Rise of the Triad Dark War. Before I do this run, I just want to get something out of the way. Two things, really. One, this game has a lot of luck-based elements to it. A lot of randomness. And half the run is knowing how to deal with all that. And the other thing you need to know is that this game is extremely difficult, even on the easiest difficulty. It's very easy to die, so that's a thing that can happen. But anyways, alright. Also, we play as Lorelei because she's the fastest. Alright, I'm gonna give the countdown for this run, and hold on. Sorry, I had to adjust myself. Alright, I'm gonna give the countdown. Start in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so this is, like I said, Rise of the Triad. This game is a little bit complicated. There's a lot of things to explain in this game, and I hope I can get to all of them without forgetting, but like I said before, I'm playing as Lorelei. She is the fastest character, but she also has the lowest health pool. So originally, when I came up with a route for this game, I was using Ty, who is the second highest health pool, but that was mainly because I was concerned about the risk of dying in this run, but I found it's very doable to do this with Lorelei, so it's just a little riskier. So the game has a lot of really weird things to it. There's a lot of power-ups. This is Mercury mode, lets me fly, and the other thing is that there's two main types of weapons you're going to be using, which are bullet weapons and launchers. The launchers can only be picked up one at a time. Bullet weapons have infinite ammo. And yeah, by the way, I'm a dog now. That's a thing in this game as well, dog mode. And this lets you move around pretty fast, makes your hitbox a little bit smaller. Also lets you jump like that. That's kind of the most important thing about dog mode. But the other nice thing is that, like a regular dog, you're completely invulnerable to damage, which is pretty awesome. And yeah, so the nice thing about dog mode is we'll be able to do a couple of little minor shortcuts that make getting past enemies and other obstacles easier. Also, dog mode lasts... Our power-ups last a pretty good amount of time in this game, which is nice. Let's just get through the level pretty quickly. I need some porridge. Another neat little thing about this game is that the health items, the priest porridge, if you fire a rocket at them, it actually cooks them and you get more health, which is kind of cool. So this is third level of episode 1. There's 4 episodes in the game. The first 3 have 8 levels. The last one has 10. And the main thing about the first level is that it's got the least amount of things to worry about. It's the most consistent leveling, honestly. The main thing with this game is that one of the mechanics of this game is that where enemies spawn is always going to be the same. However, which enemy spawns and how many of them spawn at once is kind of random. So you can't always know what's going to come out at you. So it's important to know how to deal with certain enemy patterns, and along with that, there are certain situations that can happen that you want to be ready for. And this level is probably the first really risky level with enemy spawns, mainly because of this hallway right here. If I get a lot of high guards, this can be a bit sketchy. I'm also almost gonna die, so I gotta be careful. The main thing another thing is just to know where health items are, because you're always at a very high risk of dying throughout most of the levels because of how low Lorelei's health is. Also, if anyone's curious and is getting some sort of Wolfenstein vibe off of this, this game actually was originally supposed to be the sequel to Wolfenstein 2, but it kind of got canned, and it got put into the hands of Apogee. I'm gonna save here just for safety. Alright, so that's not good. Alright, now we're gonna be God. That's pretty cool. God mode makes you invincible and lets you throw fireballs at home on enemies and kill them in one hit. Every single enemy dies in one hit with God mode. There's absolutely no exception to that, and that's going to be exploitable in episode 2 for a very specific level. But yeah, also being God makes you pretty sleepy. Can you get out of the way? Thank you. This isn't going particularly well. Bad movement, oh well. There's also a very high possibility in just a bunch of different places that this game can crash. Hopefully that never happens. There's some places where you can deliberately get the game to crash, which is amusing. One of my favorites is that if you kill one of the bosses at the end of the episode, if you mash escape too quickly, the game crashes, which is pretty amusing. So this level's not too bad. The risk of dying on this level is generally pretty low because there's health items everywhere. Or at least in every major area you need to be at. Oh, shoot. I'm gonna jump ahead. But, going back to what I was saying about Wolfenstein, though, the other kind of resemblance it has is in the level design. This game is actually running on a modified version of the Wolfenstein engine, which is absolutely insane considering this game came out in 1995. But, it is a very heavily modified version of the Wolfenstein engine. There's a lot of things that Wolf 3D would have never been able to do. And as a result of this engine is kind of buggy and is basically being held together by band-aids, which is a bit sketchy. Which is why the likelihood of crashing and soft-locking is so high in certain places. That's pretty much why I'm gonna end up saving so frequently, just for safety. Alright, also we have armor here, bulletproof armor. This makes us not take damage from bullet attacks, which is pretty useful, considering every single enemy except for like a couple of them are hit scan enemies. But there's also asbestos armor in this game, which lets you prevents you from taking damage from fire and explosives. That's going to be useful a lot later on in the game. So I got a lot of enemies here. But yeah, this is also, like I've said before, on the easiest difficulty, and there's still a lot of enemies and a lot of things that can kill you really fast. If you play this game on ludicrous difficulty, it's a very unenjoyable time. There's a ton of enemies, and some enemies also get rocket launchers, which is really stupid. And it's like weak enemies get rocket launchers, which is crazy. Also, controlling the movement's pretty awful. So this is Spring Surprise. This level actually is a little bit scary, depending on what enemy spawns happen here at the beginning. So I tend to be a little careful. I always want to try and shoot out the high guards. The high guards are the ones with the machine guns, by the way. Those are the most annoying enemy to deal with in Episode 1. They're pretty annoying consistently, but there's a worse enemy that's going to be introduced in Episode 2, so that title gets taken from them pretty quickly. I'm stuck on something, what the heck? Oh yeah, this is a split missile, by the way. It's a pretty interesting weapon, even though it's kind of useless, but it's convenient to pick up, so I get it at one point earlier in the episode. And this is the Firewall. This is my favorite weapon in the game, and this is the only weapon that we can realistically have any sort of use for it, which is like right here. And it's a weapon that shoots a wall of fire. That's just ridiculously stupid, and I love it. It's actually a really useful weapon, but there's no convenient places to get it throughout the run. Alright, we're just gonna use this jump pad here to get over here. It's a little bit faster. And we have to hit a touch plate on there to get this key. Oh yeah, here comes my other favorite part of the game. This is another random element in the game, is elevator music. Sometimes if you're on an elevator, you will get this music, and you lose about 10 seconds because of it. Alright. And now we're at the end. This is the first boss fight. This is General Darien. General Darien is an easy boss fight, but there's a potential for him to just do weird stuff and not work properly. Let's hope that doesn't happen. I didn't want to do that. I didn't even want to pick that up. What the heck? So we have to shoot all 4 of these switches in here, because these are things he's using to attack us. And if we destroy all 4 of them, it's gonna fluster him so badly that he has to come out and fight us. But sometimes he can just get stuck in a corner when he comes to tries to come out, so let's hope that doesn't happen. Alright, really easy boss fight. And General Darien's dead, and we're on to episode 2. So episode 2 introduces 2 new enemies to the game, which are the Strike Patrol, which are really easy to deal with on easy, and the Triad Enforcers, which are the hardest enemy in the game to deal with, because they are tanks, they have a lot of health, and they also have machine guns, and they also throw grenades, which do a ton of damage. So we gotta be very careful when those things are around, because they're just dangerous. But luckily for the first episode, or level of episode 2, we have dog mode through the entire thing. One of those enemy, like, luck-based scenarios is if you get a Triad Enforcer to spawn, like, if they're in the way and you have to kill them, they take forever to kill, especially if you're in dog mode, so it's one of those things you kind of hoping doesn't happen, but you can't always control. Alright. So this level's pretty cool. There's 3 keys we have to get to the exit, and we can basically do it in whatever order we want. The order I'm doing it in is the most convenient in my opinion, because it lets us get Mercury mode immediately, which is going to be helpful pretty much through the rest of the level. And we got more elevator music, nice. That is easily my least favorite way to lose time in a run, because there's literally nothing you can do about it. So yeah, Mercury mode here lets us just fly over all these fire traps on the floor. Alright, we gotta wait on this elevator to come up. I'm gonna save here just because there's a chance I could die here, trying to get this key. I don't want that to happen. And it didn't. I just wished the danger away. Alright. And this is one of those levels that can just crash for no reason. Let's hope it doesn't happen, and it didn't, thank goodness. But as you can see, Mercury mode just kind of made the good chunk of this level really easy. One other thing that's about Mercury mode is that there's these potholes that you can get stuck in, and Mercury mode prevents you from ever falling in them. Alright, so we're gonna grab another Mercury mode just for this room because there's a ton of potholes we have to go over. Just gonna kind of go through this. By the way, because this game kind of invents its own Z-axis, sort of, it's a little bit buggy and like jump pads can screw it up, so moving past them can sometimes be impossible, and I mean sometimes because it only happens sometimes. There we go. Alright, so we're coming on to the room. The room, in my opinion, is one of the coolest levels in the game casually, because this is a level that's designed based on dodging traps and puzzles. There's not a single enemy on this map whatsoever, which is kind of interesting. We're gonna do a little skip here with the rocket launcher, if we get it, of course. That would be cool. And that just, jumping over that skips us getting the first key in this room. Or in this level, the room. It is a room, I guess, but there's... What am I doing? Oh yeah, I gotta get... Did I not get that key? Okay, I'm just gonna restart the level. What am I doing? Thank you. Yeah, I'm just gonna restart the level. I missed the touchpad, and I'm gonna lose a lot of health if I try to do it again. Sorry about that. Anyways, so yeah, there's rocket jumping in the game. I don't know if I really mentioned that. This is the first game to ever have rocket jumping, and as a result, it's kind of just sometimes doesn't work. Literally, sometimes you'll just fire a rocket at the ground and nothing will happen. Because this is a very well-made game. Alright. We have to activate that switch in order to reveal the next key, but it also activates a trap, so we turn off the switch immediately afterwards. It's one way to mitigate the danger in this level, because there's a lot of stuff you gotta avoid. A lot of stuff that can kill you really quickly. Alright, so now we're going into spiraling, and I save here every time because there is a small chance of dying at the very beginning, based on how enemies behave. I have no say-so over it, because it all depends on what enemies spawn. I don't think I mentioned it, but I know how I said that there's the Strike Patrol and the Triad Enforcers are new enemies. They're also normal enemies. They can spawn anywhere a regular enemy can. And we're gonna do a rocket jump here just to take a shortcut. This will basically take us to the final stretch of this level. Effectively just completing all of it in just a matter of seconds. And now we're going on to Rocky Plateau. Rocky Plateau is, in my opinion, the least fun level in the game casually, because it is massive and really difficult to navigate because of that. It's just an unnecessary amount of open space in this level. The main thing with this level is we have to hit a couple different switches in order to get to the key to the exit. It's really tedious and not very fun. So, yeah. And I'm gonna go this way. There's not much to say here, it's literally just beating the level as quickly as we can. Because, you know, it's a speed run, that's what we do. And, what is it? Do you ever use... That's a good question, actually, and I should have mentioned this. We pretty much use every weapon in the game at least once, except for the Drunk Missile, because the Drunk Missile is actually terrible. The Drunk Missile has... its movement's really inconsistent. And the individual rockets don't even do that much damage, so... The one place it could theoretically be useful is the boss of Episode 3, because it can somewhat hit them, but it doesn't do enough damage to justify using it. That's the main reason why you're never going to see the Drunk Missile in this run. Oh yeah, those guys in black will throw nets at you. That's why you want to get the knife in the beginning of the game. The knife is an item that lets you cut right through nets, otherwise you have to wiggle through them, and that takes forever. And it also mitigates your movement. Now that this level's over, we're going into Four-Way Chamber. Four-Way Chamber is the hardest level in Episode 2. There's just a lot of different areas where enemies spawn, and it's very hard to determine what's going to happen unless you go through it once already. So a lot of, like, on-the-fly adaptations necessary for this. And you want to kind of just hope you don't get Triad Enforcers anywhere, because they're the worst. Alright, we got that health there, that was good. This also has one of my favorite music tracks in the game. Oh god, we got a Triad Enforcer. So the nice thing about explosive weapons is pretty much every enemy dies in 1 or 2 shots with them, with the standard rocket launcher anyways. So that makes tougher enemies a little bit easier to deal with, but it also means you gotta pay attention to your ammo a little. Oh yeah, and you gotta be careful with enemies, because if they stand on your head, they do damage to you. But the same thing happens if you stand on their head, you'll do damage to them. And I always fire a rocket on the other side of the door, because there is a small chance that one of the enemies that spawns on there is a Triad Enforcer. So that's just kind of a precaution I can take. Yeah, this level is just literally like what the name of the level is spiraling in. The whole level is kind of just in a spiral-like design. But now we have bullet armor. This is gonna make the rest of the level pretty simple. Still gotta watch out for some other things like fireballs and explosives, but that's not that big of a deal. We're gonna pick up that rocket launcher to help us out with the next upcoming level. Like how I also said, okay, I'm dead. That's bad. I don't remember where I saved. Oh shit, alright, that's fine. Whatever, I'll just have to save a little carefully. I was a little bit reckless there. That's why you gotta be careful in this game, because things kill you really quickly. But, it's not a big deal. It's just more chance to show off Rise of the Triad and talk about the RNG that can just screw you over. That wasn't even RNG, that was just me having really bad movement. I've mentioned it already, but the movement in this game is very, very awkward to control. Because Lorelei is extremely fast, and the movement is basically like Doom, except way harder to control. But it's okay, I know this level pretty well, so whatever. I'll just have to make sure I save a little more. Like right here I'll save because it's like halfway through the level at this point. There you go. Get out of the way, please. Thank you. So one other thing that's interesting, I know I mentioned how the enemy spawns work, is once they have spawned, like once you've loaded a level, the spawns are going to be the same. They're not going to change once you like quick load or die or anything like that. They only generate once the level starts and you've gotten onto the map, otherwise then they stay the same. Yeah, it's just more shots fired, and there's a lot of shots to be fired on this level, or in this game. You have the liberty to do that because your bullet weapons have infinite ammo. Honestly, like real talk, this game just feels like an arcade game in the form of an FPS game, and I love it. That's why I like the game so much. It's kind of rough as a speedrun, but it's fun casually. Like, I highly recommend everyone try this game at least casually, because it's fun. It's hard, but it's a fun game. Alright, so now we're on to the second boss fight of the game, which is Sebastian Christ. The cool thing about this one is there's actually like an actual level tied to it before you fight the boss. So we're gonna do that, and then fight Christ. And there's a really interesting thing that can happen here. We're gonna go out of our way to find a power-up on this map in order to not only make the level easier, but make the boss fight significantly easier. Alright, so we gotta get through here without dying. Alright. Oh god, that was scary. Please. Movement, please. Okay. So, there's these things in the game that are random power-ups. So we have to farm this one until we get God mode. That's not what I want. Which is kind of awful, but once I get that, I want to save. I almost loaded, that would have been bad. Because we want God mode through this level. And we basically need to get through this level to the boss before God mode runs out. Otherwise, this will take a lot. The boss fight will take significantly longer, and it is good to go out of the way to get the fireball. It may seem slow, but basically you mitigate any risk of dying, and you also it makes the boss fight a lot easier. You'll see what I mean when I get there. We gotta get this key in order to get to the boss fight. Ah! We're gonna make it. Sweet. Alright. So this is Christ. That was Christ. Alright, so like I said earlier, God mode, the fireball will kill anything in one hit, and I literally meant anything, including bosses. But this is the only boss where you can really abuse that. There's no other, like, power-ups that can do that with other bosses. So now we're on to Episode 3. Episode 3's gimmick is that it introduces robots into the game. Robots are generally not going to be a problem. There's one type of robot, thank goodness, we never really have to deal with, which is the Ballisticraft. The Ballisticraft is the only enemy in the game that can't die. And it fires rockets that juggle you in the air. It's pretty awesome, but it's awful. But, Yeah, so we're not going to really see them too often, so they're not going to be much of an issue. This level's kind of awful because in each of these hallways, or at least some of these hallways, there is there's enemy spawn points, and how many of them spawn at once is random, but the problem is every enemy that spawns in these hallways is a Triad enforcer. So you can just lose a lot of time if you get a bunch of them at once. And I got a lot, so that's kind of unfortunate, but whatever. There's nothing I can do about that. This is probably one of the worst areas for enemy RNG to be a problem. Or enemy spawning RNG. But I want to save at least 2 of those rockets specifically for the one right before that hallway because it's the easiest one to take out. And this is probably the most unnecessarily long hallway you're ever going to go through. It has Triad's magic and robots, and it also has dogs. Don't forget about that. That's the most important part, is the dogs. So we have to collect these 2 keys. There's one other key you can collect on this level, but I don't remember really how to get it. I think there's a timer attached to it, but it's just for a secret that's completely useless. But yeah, I will say this. Episode 3 is where the game's level design starts to get brutally unfair at times. But for the most part, it's not too bad. A couple levels towards the end of this are pretty awful, but it's, for the most part, not as bad as Episode 4 is going to be. Episode 4 is the worst part of this entire game, and it's the very last episode you have to run. Alright. Down and over is another one where at the beginning, what enemy spawns at the beginning can be kind of problematic if it's not good. Luckily, we're getting a lot of weaker enemies, which is nice. If you get Triad Enforcers and High Guards, it's generally a problem. But now that we have God Mode, it's not going to be much of one. It does not have a cat, no. I mean, like, I can pretend to be a cat or whatever, and it'll be kind of like that. Meow, do you guys feel immersed yet? Do you have your cat fill yet? Alright. So this is a cool little glitch right here. If you go into a pothole when you're in God Mode, you're, normally your viewing, like, camera or whatever is a little higher than it normally is supposed to, but if you get out of a pothole in God Mode, it becomes lower, so you kind of just become this really short god with a massive hand. Just kind of amusing. That also has the potential to backfire on you because there's a chance that you can just get stuck in the floor and you can't get out of it. Which is a really bad soft lock, and you don't ever want that to happen. Because it's absolutely annoying if it does. Alright, please give me good enemies. Alright, sweet. Alright, so this level's called Dead in 5 Seconds. You can actually die in like 3 if you're not careful. And that's a robot, by the way. I don't think we've really seen them up close. They just shoot rockets at you, which are really easy to get around, but the main thing with robots is that they can only die to explosive weapons, so you have to use a rocket launcher on them. Alright, that's a fireball that we absolutely cannot dodge. So we're gonna get this health right here. That little trash can looking dude is the Ballisticraft. The Ballisticraft is, like I said, the enemy that doesn't die. You can't kill them whatsoever. There we go. So clearing present dangers. This level's pretty fun except for one skip we have to do at the end, which is pretty tough. Did I get both of them? Okay, cool. We're gonna activate this in order to move a wall. Oh, I'm stuck. Nice. This is a thing that can happen, by the way. If you get stuck on a push wall while it's coming at you, you can get stuck inside the wall, and the only way you can get out of it is if you shoot a rocket at it. Which you don't want to have happen because that's gonna lower your health, obviously, but I was a little bit too fast there. You gotta be careful, guys. Going too fast is not optimal in this game. Yeah, Wolf, this was supposed to originally be a Wolf 3D sequel, but then they kind of canned the project and was focusing on Doom, and Apogee picked up this and released it in 1995. I want to say it's also impressive that this game, coming out in 1995, is running on the Wolfenstein engine, and they found a way to remove infinite vertical hitboxes, whereas Final Doom came out, I think, the same year, and still had that problem, because the developers were really fucking lazy. Alright. I'm gonna save here just because it's a little bit sketchy. This half of the level has a skip that's pretty cool, but also extremely risky. Oh, I thought, okay, there was an enemy there. I was like, there's gotta be an enemy there. I swear I saw it. So we're gonna, in order to make sure that this skip works without any issues, we're gonna kill every enemy in this room. Which includes those two robots, which are always there. I know I said enemy spawns are random or whatever, but the only enemies that are 100% going to always spawn are the robots. Gonna get some health here. Make sure I have full health to do this. You need to have pretty high health in order to do this skip. That's not good. I hope this is gonna be enough. I'm gonna save just in case. But normally you're supposed to go through a bunch of different rooms in order to hit a couple different switches in order to make all those pillars move, and then you get to this key, but you can also just do 2 back-to-back rocket jumps, and if you screw them up, you get stuck and you have to restart. Which is the thing that sucks about this skip. You have to have a perfect rocket jump, which rocket jumps, as I said in this game, are really, really iffy. There we go. Made it out with just enough health. Sweet. Alright, so that skips pretty much the entirety of that room right there. And it just looks cool. This is kind of unlucky. Oh yeah, this is that was stupid. Alright, cool. Now I have to redo that trick again. Because I got unlucky. Realistically, I could not have seen all of those things that happened to me at once coming. Are you kidding me right now? Come on. Don't do this. Don't do this! Like I said, rocket jumps can just sometimes outright not work. Alright. I'm going to save again because I don't want to be dealing with this crap again. But I should mention one other thing that's really annoying about this game's mechanics and how it's programmed is if an enemy's anywhere like within the vicinity of a trap, the game will prioritize shooting the trap instead of the enemy, so the enemy will basically become invulnerable, which is absolutely fantastic, let me tell you. It's the same thing with doorways. There we go. Time for Angry Quilt. Alright, so that last level took way longer than it should have, but Angry Quilt is another level where we need to farm for random power-ups at one point, so that could take time. Hopefully it doesn't. The power-up we need for this level is Dog Mode. Basically just makes this level a lot easier. Alright, sweet. So we're gonna save here. That's God mode, that's close. That's still close. I have faith. There we go. Alright. Yeah, this game has a lot of things that can just go wrong, and a lot of it you have to be ready for it. That's why I'm not saving nearly as much as I should have, to be honest, because there's so many places you can die here in this game. Lots of possibilities. What a dynamic gaming experience. It's actually fun. It's just frustrating when you're trying to get a good time in this because of how the RNG is. That's why I have a pretty high estimate, to be honest. Like, my PB, I think, is like a 55 something, but that was with really bad item farming RNG, so it's very improvable. I've also yet... Oh, look, more elevator music. I've also yet to have a run where I don't die once. I haven't made a... There hasn't been a leaderboard for it yet. That's why I haven't submitted it. I need to get on that, honestly. Alright, so I used the machine gun there because he's right next to me. I don't want to take damage from a rocket. But I'm gonna save here in case enemy spawns are really bad, which they can be. Oh god, yeah, like I said. It's even more important that they're good here. Alright, sweet. Moving walls. This level's really dumb. Like, really dumb. It's so easy to die on this level. Because the first thing you have to do is deal with literal walls of magma all over the place that will kill you in seconds. Regardless of who you're using. But there's also, a lot of different enemy spawning options that can happen here. You don't want to get a lot of Triad Enforcers. That's kind of just the general thing. You just gotta kind of hope you don't get Triad Enforcers. Mostly because not only are they dangerous, but they just have a ton of health. That's the main problem with them, to be honest. Alright, let's save here. Past everything. We're gonna get this bullet armor because it's just gonna make getting through this level a lot easier. Oh shoot, I always forget that there's robots on the other side of this door. And bullet armor will not do anything against these guys because they shoot rockets. So just remember, kids, that bulletproof armor is only good against bullets. It's not good against explosives. Words of wisdom from Papa Rip Chip right here. Alright. Actually, you know what? I still have a ton of rockets. I'm just gonna use the regular bazooka. Normally I have less because I have more Triad Enforcers spawning. But because that's been pretty nice, I'm just gonna stick to this. Because the bazooka does more damage than the Heat Seeker does. Oh yeah. Oh god, that's bad. I have 2 of them in there. That's really bad. Fudge. Alright, whatever. Yeah, so I'm getting bad enemy RNG in there because there are multiple Triad Enforcers. And it's very annoying to try and dodge their attacks. Come on, really? This is really stupid. Okay, so like I said, the difficult thing is the fact that there's just 3 of them. And they're all throwing grenades at me from that distance, so I am just gonna switch to the Heat Seeker. Even though it's less damage, it makes shooting them easier. That's the RNG you hope never happens, because it's really hard to deal with. Because as you can see, as you may have seen, the rockets just do, or their grenades just do an insane amount of damage. Oh, come on, that's still not even enough! God. Please, come on! Why? Alright, so new strat. We're gonna shift the metagame here really freaking quick, alright? I am just going to save, once I get a chance to, right here, so that we can do this over and over again, and hope to God we don't die. Because the thing that sucks about the Heat Seekers is that it takes 3 of them to kill their Triad Enforcer. Because they do less damage. Jeez, that was awful. There we go. Alright, I'm gonna save here because there's a good chance I'll die as soon as I open this door. Like I said! There's a good chance I'm going to die once I open this door because I got such awful enemy spawns here. I need to get that health. I don't ever usually go for that. It didn't pick up the key, are you kidding me? Okay, hold on. This level is just going all sorts of bad. I didn't pick up that key. Oh my goodness. Like, I want to just say, oh man, too bad, but it's like, there's no way I can prepare for that, so... Whatever. Anyways, this is enemy. If you think things can just get any better from this point on, they don't. This boss fight is the worst fight in the entire game. I have tried a number of times to come up with a consistent strat for this boss, and there's just nothing that works. Enemy is just a very small, very fast, and very powerful boss, so... he can be a real pain in the ass, so... hopefully he isn't, because that last level probably just has put me overestimate. But we're gonna try. So the main thing you need to know about enemy and how he fights is that his main attack he's gonna be doing is a missile that homes in on you, and it's really fast. And once he gets to a certain amount of health, he will... you need to get out of the way, enemy. Once he gets to a certain amount of health, he'll start doing an attack where he literally fires a massive amount of fireballs at you, and that does a stupid amount of damage. But his movement is super random, too, which makes him extremely difficult. I got hit by a homing rocket. That's cool. Alright, this is awful so far. Whatever. This boss fight's just stupid. There's nothing you can do about it if it goes badly. Because enemy is just... he's so random. There's just... nothing works against him. Nothing but prayers. Oh my goodness. Like, look at this. He moves so fast you can't fucking hit him. It's ridiculous. And I know I don't think I've mentioned it yet, but you actually have to use explosive weapons to do damage to bosses. Which is one of the things that makes it so hard. Specifically this fight. Every other boss is extremely slow and easy to hit, so... enemy is just an asshole. I'm gonna save here just because... I'm gonna be careful. Because I keep missing him because he's just moving all over the place. Where is he now? I don't even know where he is. Stop. Buddy, just stay in a straight line. It's not that hard to do. Look at that. Look how easy that is, enemy. Come on. This is awful, man. This is so awful. This is about as bad as enemy can get, to be honest. Please, just stay still. Yes, he's fucking dead. God, that's awful. Like I said, this run is very likely to go overestimate now, and I apologize, but just, I'm getting some of the worst possible luck I can on Episode 3. And now we're going on to the worst part of the entire game, which is Episode 4. Episode 4's gimmick is that it introduces magic into the equation, and this includes new enemies called monks. There's two types, there's death monks and fire monks, both of which are a problem because they both have pretty high health pools, and have obnoxiously large hitboxes. And also take a... it's just, there are a ton of them at once, and they do a lot of damage when in groups. So yeah, this is just annoying. This is nothing I can do about that. Wonderful. Cool. I got swamped by them and died. That's awesome. But yeah, this level's pretty straightforward. It's just, you just don't die. That's it. It's literally all this game is from this point on. It's just hoping you don't die. It's more like you just hope you don't die to something stupid, which is gonna happen because the fire monk won't stop shooting me. And I can't really fight him. I apologize for getting frustrated, but just understand where I'm coming from. Everything that can go wrong in the last half of the game is going really wrong. Okay, I'm gonna play super safe, because apparently the game's not giving me an option. And also, this is the Dark Staff. This is really the only weapon you can viably use on this level. And it's got extremely slow startup before it fires its attack, which is really dumb. Alright, so now we're on the second level. This level's not too bad. We get dog mode for the first half of it, which is always good. Alright. Oh boy, more elevator music. Like I said, we're gonna go even further overestimate because of this. It's like, there's nothing I can do. Like, I can't magically make the game work the way I want it to. There's just too much RNG. Twice in a row? Are you kidding me? Good God. Alright, whatever. That was adorable. You know what, I'm just gonna waste time and get dog mode again, because this is just gonna... This is something that does not happen, ever. I'd rather just have dog mode going in, because normally you still have dog mode going into the second part of this level. Oh boy. Alright, so we're just gonna ram ourselves through these walls of fire. Getting past them normally is already hard enough, so, I mean, it's lucky that you have dog mode to just run right through them. Oh yeah, that's another cool glitch. If an enemy's in a doorway and you try to attack them with dog mode, they won't take any damage. I can just think of the number of ways this game is really well programmed. There we go. The plus side is the run after this that I'm doing isn't nearly as random and a lot easier to do. What am I doing? I'm gonna save here just in case. Alright, I need to get this Seeker, or Seeker, god, this rocket launcher. It's called the, homing launcher. I don't even know what the real name for it is, but we need it so we can do a sequence of skips right here. Hopefully I have enough health to do it. Hopefully it actually works, that's kind of the other thing. Like I said, the rocket jumps can just not work sometimes. Alright, we got that key. We gotta do it again. I'm gonna make a pit stop. What? Oh! There was an enemy there, of course. Because I totally knew that was gonna happen. Why am I not surprised anymore? This game just wants to go as badly as humanly possible. Whatever. And like, nothing is surprising me anymore. Please move. Thank you. Right, so this is kinda shitty that my health is this low. But this whole level went awfully just because of the RNG I got with the elevators. So I'm gonna get a few more bits of health right here. Some yummy bits. Gonna shoot this guy because he's a problem. Then we're gonna do another skip right here. Go straight to the exit. Alright, so this is one of the most dangerous levels in the episode. Not like everything else hasn't gone horribly already, but this one is actually expected for things to go badly, because there's just a lot of shit that can kill you on this level. And it's just very claustrophobic. So it's very easy for things to just hurt you. You don't really have much of a say-so in the matter. Luckily that worm went pretty good, but that's not always the case. Oh, what am I doing? It's the wrong way. There we go. So the worst part of the level is out of the way, which is that beginning stretch. It doesn't get bad again until the end. The end is where things just flip. Okay, that's not lucky. I don't like when high guards spawn there, they just do a lot of damage. But I do want to apologize if it is kind of hard to follow just what's going on or understand why certain things are the way they are in this game. This is one of those games, unfortunately, you kind of have to play to get a feel for just how ruthless this game can be. Or just to truly understand where some of this is coming from. I'm really just like... I cannot emphasize enough just how unforgiving this game is. I got stuck in place and died there, for example. I couldn't do anything because an enemy decided to move a certain way. So I have to do all this over again. It's just like there's nothing I can do to make it better. A lot of unexpected things can happen. Oh, Jesus. Alright, wonderful. So I'm gonna save here. I should have saved here to begin with. This is a really sketchy part of the run. Just because there's so many fire monks. Did that not hit him? Are you serious? Okay, it did. I was worried for a moment. Come on, move! Please! God damn it. Move, move, move. There we go. Okay. Jesus fucking Christ, that's annoying. So, fun fact, I originally stopped running this game when I came up with a route for it because I hated episode 3 and 4, and I still hate it to this day. I've just thought I had more strats to compensate for how badly things can go, but apparently I'm wrong. So we gotta do one more RNG-based item farm here. We want to go for dog mode. Perfect. Second tries, good luck. The graphics aren't good at all. This game is running on the modified Wolfenstein engine. It's gonna look like garbage. So I guess one thing I can mention about this game is I'm also running it on DOSBox because there is a couple other source ports, but some of them don't actually emulate the game correctly. So like, for example, at the first level of episode 3 in the hallways where Triad enforcers spawn, in Winrot, for example, those don't spawn as Triad enforcers, those spawn as light guards, which is not correct. That's not how the game is programmed. There's also a couple of little differences that make it not an accurate source of emulation. Alright, sweet. Alright, I hope this is gonna be okay. It is, alright, sweet. This level's not too bad. Just the beginning's a bit rough. Wow, I took damage from a corner of the room. That's incredible. Alright, so this is Backfire. Backfire is just more of the same kind of bullshit, to be honest. Just, hey look, this is a level with a bunch of enemies that are gonna kill you in a really enclosed space. It's literally all the levels are in episode 4. And there was a fire monk behind me. Okay, neat. have to kill them. That's something I literally never have to do, but I don't even know anymore. This game is just full of surprises today. Alright, so this level is just main thing is that there's a lot of death monks that are just in the way that you have to kill because otherwise you can't get through the level at all. Or at least not reasonably anyways. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to switch to the machine gun. Thank you, game. So unfortunately there's more death monks than there is ammo for the dark staff, so this level is kind of unfortunate, because you do have to kill all these, otherwise they're gonna be in the way. Come on. Alright, so we're gonna take this little shortcut here to get out of that maze. And the rest of the level just gets kind of difficult. Mainly because there is one particular room that's really, really difficult, which is coming up relatively soon. We're basically going to be dodging a ton of traps at once that all do an insane amount of damage if they get stacked on top of each other. I'm going to save here for safety. Okay, I got stuck on that. There was nothing I could really do. And now I can't take a single bit of damage here. Pick that up. Alright, cool. So that's not too bad. Whatever, we're good. Everything's fine. Because now we're a dog again. That's kind of unfortunate. Sometimes they'll get in the way. You have to kill them if that happens. There's just no way you can squeeze through otherwise. Alright, so now that all the nonsense is over, we're on Circles of Fire. This level's really easy, except for one thing we have to do. One thing here that's very, very, very difficult, because it requires pretty perfect movement to happen. But everything else is simple. This is a really small level compared to the rest. Alright. So, everybody, wish me luck. Because I have to hit the switch and immediately go in between those fire pillars. God, that's... Why is it everything that's, like, actually hard and not luck-based I'm just not having that much trouble with? That's great. Alright, so... The reason we want to do that is to get asbestos armor, because it makes this level extremely trivial. Or not so trivial, I don't even know what the word is anymore. I can't speak English because this game's messed with my head a little bit too much right now. So we're done, we just have to hit those 3 switches and we get straight to the exit. But with asbestos armor, we don't have to worry about enemies doing damage. So now we're on the lair of El Oscuro, who is the main villain of the game. And... yeah, this level is another one I don't want that to happen, Jesus. You don't want to break the glass. Any enemies you can avoid, you want to in this level. The main thing with this is that it's, again, another level that happens before, like, a boss fight, but it's not really a boss fight, per se. It's not a true boss fight. The real final boss fight doesn't happen until 2 more levels. One of them isn't even, like, a real level, so it's not even an issue. And we're gonna kill these monks in particular, because if we don't, there's a chance they will get in the way when I come back into this room. Because I need the gold key to get to the silver key, which gets to the door that's locked in that room, because that makes sense. The design of this level is kind of all over the place, but then, again, so is pretty much all of Episode 4. We're gonna make sure we kill that fire monk, because otherwise he's going to be a problem. Save here just in case. gonna get this, or no, I guess I'm not. That's cool. I'm gonna get this health. There's a large crystal here that gives me pretty much full health. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I was really expecting elevator music to happen there because of how bad this has gone. Alright, I'm going to not get that rocket launcher because I don't need it. Alright, now we gotta wait on this elevator. Pretty sure this is the last elevator in the game. Alright, so now we're into the boss arena, per se. But it's, like I said, not really a boss fight, so El Oscuro is weird. We don't actually have, we're not supposed to kill him. We can't kill him right now. So he's gonna fly around and do a bunch of attacks to us, and we can't do anything to him, because if we do any attacks to him, he will actually stay alive longer. So, unfortunately, this just turns into a luck-based waiting game. We have to wait him out, because we can't kill him. And anytime we do an attack to him, he retaliates and stays alive longer. So it's a matter of just surviving, which is easy to do because there's a ton of asbestos armor everywhere. You guys enjoying the run so far? I apologize for the points where I got mad, but I got hit with some very, very unpredictable enemies circumstances. So I apologize if that ruined the experience for anyone, but like it got really out of hand really quickly. This game is, like I said, extremely unforgiving, and if you get bad luck and you can't adapt to it immediately, you just lose time. But yeah, we have to wait for this guy to finish. We're just gonna pick up this dark staff. It's gonna be convenient to have at the beginning of the next level. If another enemy attacks him, I don't actually know if that does anything. I try to kill enemies nearby so that doesn't happen, but I've never really looked into that. Alright, so he's transformed into a caterpillar and we're gonna chase him through a canyon. You know, traditional kind of thing. There isn't technically infighting, but enemies can still damage each other. It enhances the experience. It just gives you an idea of just how rough this game can be. Like I said, my PB is 55, like 36, and that's with really bad RNG. The rest of the run went pretty good. It's like 1 or 2 deaths, but still a pretty good run. It's not perfect, but that's just to give you an idea of the differences in times that can happen in this. And my goal right now is to try and get as close to 50 minutes as possible. That'll take some time, though. Alright, and we're into the true final level of the game. This is the Dark Nest. This is where we fight the final boss for real. But there's also a side objective we have to do. So the way this game works is that there's a good and a bad ending. If you don't get the good ending, you have to do this level over again. And in order to get the good ending, we have to kill all of El Oscuro's descendants, which are these little, you know, eggs right here. And they're annoying to kill because their hitboxes are extremely bizarre, and sometimes your attacks will just go straight through them. Alright, so we have to trigger that touch plate because it activates a push wall in the next room we're going into, which leads us to the Oscuro key. Yeah, by the way to get to the true ending of this is extremely convoluted and extremely difficult to just figure out. It's like not even fun or challenging, it's really stupid. Alright. Please? Okay. So we have to make sure all of the eggs die, otherwise we don't get the best ending. And the main reason that's a problem is because there is one room in particular in this level that has the rest of the eggs. Normally you might think, oh man, I killed all of them, El Oscuro's done for. But there's one more room that you have to get, and you have to hit this push wall. So everything I'm doing, by the way, is all to get to this secret area. Which is this push wall right here, which leads to all the rest of his descendants. So we have to kill every single one of them. The difficult thing is that there's no way to track how many are dead and alive. So you just gotta kind of hope you never miss one. And yeah, this is Excalibur. This is a really awesome weapon, and this is the only practical place to use it, because all the other Excaliburs you really have to go out of your way to get in this game. We basically just want to try and clear out as many of these as we can with this. Oh shit, I don't have his Asbestos armor anymore, I gotta be careful. Alright, so usually if there's only like 3 in view, I'll just whack them with a baseball bat. You know, I'm just teaching El Oscuro's descendants proper child-rearing techniques, I guess. Alright, so we're gonna take an Excalibur because it makes this fight a lot easier. Fun little... I'm gonna save here just in case there's any issues. Fun little thing about this, you could theoretically kill El Oscuro in one hit, because you can hit all of his hitboxes at once with the Excalibur. The only thing is you have to hit him when he's on these pits of fire, and your position has to be perfect to do it, so it's very unlikely to happen. But every single one of those heads is a hitbox, so... And we have to destroy every single one of them. That's not good. Alright, whatever. I will just use the Dark Staff. Come on. Alright, and El Oscuro's dead, so time's coming up once the death animation screen is over. I'm not gonna laugh, I'm gonna be pissed. If it happens, whatever, I don't care at this point. I just want this run to be over. That's never happened to me yet, though, so... Praying. Alright. Time's coming up, and... Time. Even if this isn't the best ending, I don't care, because this is definitely not PB potential at all. Hana. Alright, this is a great little thing right here. Due to budget cuts, the government could not afford another skiff, so the hunt swam 20 miles back to the mainland. Alright, sweet. We got the best ending. So that was Rise of the Triad. That was a very, very terrible run. I just got really, really unlucky and had some enemy situations that I've never realistically had to deal with, and they all backfired on me. So, that wasn't great. I hope you guys still enjoyed it anyways. If you guys want a game that I'm actually really good at, I'm gonna do Dark Forces next, so just hang tight for that. What was my time, by the way? Actually, low-key, I don't even want to know what my time was. It's probably really bad.